What is going on, everybody? It is Hump Day. It is Wednesday here on the Southside Beat. Well, really, for the entire world, it's Wednesday, but also here on the Southside Beat. My name is Chris Halicke. Corey Christen not here today. Most likely will not be on today. He is over. He's not even on the Southside today. He is over at Acrisure Stadium covering Steelers practice. That's right. The Steelers did not practice on the Southside today. My microphone's turned around. Let's see if that works better. Corey was over at Acrisure Stadium where the Steelers were practicing because the fields on the south side were absolutely terrible. William absent Corey, working Corey, I should say. He's working. No, there we go. Swan's got it. It will be Stadium Corey. So he had to take a shuttle over there, and so they've got a bunch of stuff going on over there. And so I think Tomlin even spoke after practice. I just saw him send over an audio thing in our company Slack channel and everything. So I don't know what all Tomlin said. I'm sure Corey will have everything on the feed. So definitely check out the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. If you don't have it already, it's a free app. That's the best way to get everything. We are completely filling that feed up with everything pertaining to the Steelers and Bills game this weekend. And obviously practice today will be part of that, obviously. So, so you guys are the co-hosts today. Bring your questions, bring your comments. I'm good with some rapid fire stuff. Definitely wanted to bring up the big elephant in the room right now when it comes to this game, because we're talking, there's a lot of talk about, the Steelers, if they can run the football, or if, can they stop this Bills offense, so on and so forth. And Matt brings it up. This weather sucks. I'm not sure what all the weather is going on in the Pittsburgh area right now. I'm not there. It's actually a really sunny day here, but we've got our own winter weather coming here in North Texas. Let me just so that people can understand that it actually does get cold in Texas. Okay. I'm gonna, give, because I was under the same impression whenever I moved here. The forecast for Monday here, that's a high of 24. A low of 15, and then the next day, high of 29, a low of 11. It's actually a little bit better than it was a couple days ago. A couple days ago, those lows were in the single digits. So it will be cold here, and it feels even colder than it normally does because there's nothing to block wind here in North Texas. There are no hills. There are no tall trees. It's flat land, much like the wind that the Steelers and Bills will be dealing with in Orchard Park, New York. And that stadium is a very low set bowl that there's nothing to block wind. So forecast for the game, obviously cold, obviously some snow in the forecast, but 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. Man, that is not ideal. And I even looked it up just to kind of see like how, like, the wind, like, is it going to be like, coming in a certain direction so that it's, always at one team's back? Is it going to be something like that? No, it's not. So I got to do this so that you guys can see. So the Bills Stadium, Highmark Stadium, is kind of like set like this a bit. It's definitely more like northwest to southeast. Like there's a northwest end zone and a southeast end zone, and the wind is going to be coming from west southwest. So it will very much be a crosswind, kind of going in one way, at the same time, but more crosswind than it will be towards a certain direction. So not ideal for either team. It's just, it's not going to be fun. Williams says, I've seen it snow twice in 27 years in Texas. I didn't say it snows a lot here. It does not snow a lot here. It can get really, really frigidly cold. Robert says, Chris, I'm in Louisiana. We know. Hey, I understand that. And people who have lived in the South for any length of time will know that it can actually get cold here. Just a lot of people. Christopher Gallo says, I hope we don't get an ice storm in Rockwall. I hope we don't get anything when it comes to ice in North Texas, because again, and that's all we get here when we do, is usually it's ice storms when we do get winter weather, and it's not, it sucks. Let's see. Yeah, Spice Creation says it's going to have a freeze here in Texas Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, I showed that. I actually showed the weather up here. It's going to be cold, man. It's going to be really cold. All right, Mike Rosenthal, what are the odds we get the pleasure of seeing Brad Wing? Clearly, Presley is a liability, and Wing is here for a reason. I'm before I go ahead and just jump to a conclusion, I do want to see the injury report from today. It has not come out yet that I've seen so far. I still haven't seen it come across, and so I'm curious to see if they list Presley Harvin on the injury report. If he does not show up on the injury report, it is a very interesting signing. And I do think it is a signing that definitely sends a message to Harvin, like, we are not satisfied. And nor should they be. 3 of the last 4 games, he has just not been good. He's averaged barely 40 yards a punt. In 15 punts. So I'm taking the Seattle game out because he punted only one time in that game, and it was a 46-yard punt. It was a decent punt, but he only had to punt one time in that game. But the other 3 of the last 4 games, he punted a total of 15 times, barely averaged 40 yards a punt, and only 4 of those ended up inside the 20. So it's been a rough stretch, and put that rough stretch at the end of, again, a wildly inconsistent season. Had some really good punts at some moments, and then most of the time when they need a punt, he shanks one, or it's just a very underwhelming punt. It's just like, yeah, and after 3 years, I think it's enough. I think after 3 years, you're like, okay, you've had all the chances in the world. It happens, during his rookie season, went through a lot of personal issues, a lot of off the field, trauma in during his rookie season. That's one thing. The following 2 seasons, you continue to have those inconsistencies. Yeah. And especially when you look at a game like this, Crystal brings this up. Field position is everything with this team. It will be everything in this game. Every yard will matter in a game like this because, and Christopher brings it up here, it's terrible in bad weather. And the game against the Ravens was a perfect example of it. Their punter didn't have any issues. He punted he had a few different really good punts, like way better than I ever expected in that kind of weather. And I think that was kind of like, stark difference. Like, Harvin's barely doing anything, and their guys like having no issues. So yeah, Mark, it's year 3. Yep. He was drafted in the 7th round in 2021. So yeah, it's been 3 years now with Harvin. So, yeah, Frank, coming through. Hit the like button, people. Thank you, guys. Got 126 in here right now. It's pretty good. For this point in the show, usually it grows as the show goes on. So yeah, definitely hit the like. If you're in here, hit the like button for us. Every like, every subscribe, every membership, every little bit of everything always helps the show grow. So we are really appreciated, man. Alex asks, the Bills were a loss to Miami away from being the 7th seed. Why is everyone predicting a blowout? Do you think that affects the Bills Steelers players? I don't think that's going to affect the players. I think the main reason why you're seeing like a lot of people predicting a blowout, or a lot of people, or the line just moved up again. It's up to -10 now. Or the spread, not the line. The spread is now up to -10. That's especially for a game that you're expecting the elements to be bad. That really is kind of surprising to me. But I really do think that the big thing, and we talked about it yesterday, is TJ Watt being out. It's no secret that the Steelers don't win when TJ Watt doesn't play. This team is 1-10 when he doesn't play. That's not a coincidence, and so I think the volatility when it comes to the Steelers, yes, they've looked a lot better over these 3 games, but I think the national, especially when it comes to like when Vegas is setting, betting lines and spreads and stuff like that, they need to see more than just 3 games to think, oh, well, Mason Rudolph is definitely that guy. And this offense has definitely had it figured out. And then you also add in the fact that, hey, their best player is missing. Yeah. Swan helping us out here. It says Stadium Corey just reported that it was a good practice. I'm like I said, everybody check out the Steelers feed. He's going to be putting stuff in the feed for sure. Yeah, so we're going to have everything from the practice there. Once the injury report comes out, that'll be in there too. Yeah, so it'll be good, man. Check out the feed for sure. We have everything in there. We have a lot of stuff in there, including actually, speaking of TJ Watt, the NFLPA All-Pro team came out and TJ Watt did not make it. That is voted on by the players, not voted on by voters or fans or anything like that. That is voted on by the players. Myles Garrett and Max Crosby were the edge rushers in the NFLPA All-Pro team. That to me is shocking. When PFF doesn't have Watt in there, I'm kind of like, all right, well, they're obsessed with analytics. They're obsessed with the pass rush win rate and everything like that. Yeah, Darren says, and honestly brings it up too. Just says no Watt and no Parsons. Parsons is the other one too. To me, the 2 best edge rushers in the game, in my opinion, are Watt and Parsons. In my opinion, Micah Parsons. You think TJ Watt's bad? Micah Parsons gets held more often than TJ Watt, and literally never gets it called. Never gets it called. Watt at least every now and then. Not nearly enough, nowhere near enough, but every now and then gets it called. Micah Parsons literally does not ever get it called, ever. And actually, I was having a car. I was over at during the holidays, during the holiday season, during the Christmas holiday. I was over at my wife's family's house, and I was talking with my brother-in-law. And we were having this conversation. Darren brings up no respect for off-ball pass rushers. But I'm just in terms of talking about edge rushers. I just said I would really love to see the NFL just let loose and literally call every little bit of holding. By the way, if you can hear that in the background, my dog is drinking water very, very loudly. I can hear it, and I've got like headphones in and everything like that. So I'm sorry if you can hear that. Geez, Fergus, you are the loudest drinker in the world. But you're a good dog, though. You're a good dog. So, yeah, Darren, enthusiastic drink. I don't know what it is. Not only is he loud, he then will do laps around my kitchen after he's drank and literally just drip that water everywhere. Dang, Swan just freaking going after the beer drinkers in Pittsburgh. Is it IC Light or water? Same thing. Dang. Yeah, well, I can't disagree with you. I'm not an IC Light fan at all. It was not good. That's okay. Everybody's got their own palates. But yeah, I was like, I would love to see this league really like give the advantage to these edge rushers. And then we can really see who really gets held the most. Then we can really see who really does have the best ability to get to the quarterback, where they then have the advantage instead of the offense. But that won't happen because the NFL does everything that they can to favor offense over defense. And like, I'm saying that as being more of an offensive minded person. I tend to favor offense more than defense. And I have no problem saying that this league goes way out of its way to favor offense over defense. And it's terrible. Joe Vlog says golden retrievers are awesome. Yes, they are. That dog is the most patient dog I've ever seen. My kids are all over him all the time. I have to constantly tell them he is not a horse. He's a dog. Don't get on his back like golden retrievers as they get older tend to have back and hip issues. Like, please let him live a nice, lengthy life and he just lets him do it. Like, he doesn't care. He just loves the attention, and it's phenomenal. Like, he's such a good dog. So, but yeah, I would love to see that. It's not going to happen because, like I said, this league goes way out of its way to favor offense, and it's ridiculous. And so, yeah, neither TJ Watt or Micah Parsons making it is a joke, really. Especially Max Crosby. I can understand Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, for all I think the hate towards Myles Garrett isn't necessarily towards the player. Granted, he's done, some things that will make people not like him, but I think the hate with Myles Garrett is more geared toward PFF making him this. He's a god among edge rushers, and everybody else is beneath him. And I think that's where the disdain kind of comes from. It's kind of like, for wrestling fans that didn't want to have John Cena shoved down their throat in the mid to late 2000s. And so then you ended up having a section of the fan base that hated John Cena only because it wasn't because they actually didn't like John Cena. It was the fact that they were tired of getting him shoved down their throat. It's kind of the same. I kind of have the same thing or same theory, I guess. Swan asked, do we know the refs yet? I personally haven't seen the crew yet if it's been announced. Frankie asked, do you think the Steelers flip the switch come Sunday? I think Sunday is going to be a bit of and pun intended here, but a bit of a wild card. The reason why I say that is just because this weather is going to be the ultimate. It's going to be the ultimate X factor here. It's going to be, it will even everything out. Because if teams are going to have a hard time throwing the football, if the winds really are going to end up being that bad, if it's 20 to 30 mile an hour winds with potentially 50 mile an hour gusts, like Warren Sharp was talking about, then it's going to be a game in which teams are going to have a really tough time throwing the ball. Kicking field goals is going to become way and Chris Boswell is, one of the best in the league right now. And, Buffalo's kicker is pretty good too, but you're not talking about getting to the 35-yard line and saying, oh, we're definitely in Boswell territory now. Like, no, you got to get a lot closer in order to make sure to really kind of give yourself a legitimate shot if the wind is that bad. It will affect the passing game, and that goes for both teams. And so then you kind of go on, okay, well, who can run the football better? There are two completely different teams when it comes to how they run the football. Steelers are all about their 1-2 punch with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. The Bills are all about, James Cook and then Josh Allen, having some design runs, running with improvisation. It's going to be, this weather is going to be really, really interesting to me, and how it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. And then how can each offense try to navigate through those elements? And I think the Steelers are a little bit better equipped for that with their style of play, but I'm not taking anything away from the Bills either, just because they can run the football. And Josh Allen is a part of that. Chris says Josh Allen turns the ball over. Yes, he does. I'm not denying that. But the big thing is that, okay, if Josh Allen throws a couple picks, or even James Cook, excuse me, for as good as a running back as he is, he fumbles. How do the Steelers make them pay for it? Steelers need to be able to do that. They need to be able to take advantage of every opportunity that the Bills give them. That means turning every turnover into points. If they don't do that, if they have 3 takeaways and they only generate 3 points off of it, that's not good enough. You're not going to, that to me is not doing anything when it comes to that. Pick six will obviously help. Pick sixes will always help. Yeah. It's so, hold on a second. There was Spice Creation says, Cam said they're built for that kind of weather. I agree with that. The Steelers are built for this type of a game. Joe Vlog says Tomlin's going to pull off an ugly win in Buffalo. Listen, again, the weather really, I think, does level the playing field a little bit when it comes to and tilts it a little bit back into the Steelers' favor. I really do. Do I think the Steelers are going to win? I'm not going to make my prediction yet. I'm just saying I think it levels the playing field more and gives the Steelers a better chance to win. but it doesn't necessarily mean, because who knows if for whatever reason we get to, here in a couple days, we might be talking on Friday and all of a sudden the forecast doesn't look nearly as daunting. It could be a completely different story. So Crystal says, I think the Bills tight ends will be the X factor. Do not put these inside linebackers on an island. Allen is throwing, period. I would assume that, and no matter what the weather is, the Steelers are going to have to prepare for Allen to throw the football. And yes, Dalton Kincaid, and yes, Dawson Knox, I don't take anything away from him, but Dalton Kincaid is the guy who will tear this defense apart if they do not properly account for him. Stephon Diggs will probably end up having some catches here and there. I trust Joey Porter Jr. on him more than I would trust any of the inside linebackers trying to cover Dalton Kincaid. Steelers Freak says linebackers on Bills tight ends will be an issue. It will be an issue if they do that. I would think that you need to have a safety on them at all times. I'd be fine with any of them. If Minka plays, I'd be fine with Minka, KZ, or Eric Rowe. But I think I don't want to completely take Minka away and put him on one of the tight ends all the time. I would rather him, be able to play center field at times, play, in the box at times, be able to kind of go all over the place. I would rather either Eric Rowe or Devontae Casey be that guy. But yeah, they've got to have safeties on the tight ends more often than not, for sure. Swan says play with 3 safeties and put one of them on the tight end. That's one way to go about it, and I think that is probably the best way. But then you start thinking about the effects of that. If you have 3 safeties, that means you're either one less corner or one less running linebacker. You go one less linebacker, now you're opening yourself up to get gashed in the ground game. You go one less corner, now you're opening yourself up to, especially if Gabe Davis plays, to being really, 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 for lack of a better word, slaughtered through big time passes from Josh Allen to either Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis or I can't remember the name of their slot receiver, but another really good dude. But yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, if the weather can at least kind of neutralize the deep game and throwing the ball deep, then I'm curious to see how that fits into the Steelers' favor. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Shakir, yeah, thank you, Matt Shakir. Yeah, I knew it's one of those things where you can see the guy, you can almost picture the name on the back of the jersey, but for whatever reason, the name doesn't come to your mind. And the thing is that I was just doing my next opponent homework on the team too, so it's kind of funny. Like, I was just looking at the roster and everything like that, and still couldn't think of it. That just goes to show and is proof of how bad my short-term memory is. Matt Hyde asks, what's the status of Gabe Davis? Well, so the Bills have already come out with their injury report for the day. They did put on there that it was a walkthrough practice, so it wasn't a full practice for them. And Gabe Davis was a DNP. He was listed as if he did not practice today. Now that's them not doing a full practice, so kind of take it with a grain of salt right now. I think Thursday is going to be a much, much more telling day when it comes to his status. If they run a full practice, which I would assume they would since they did a walkthrough today, and he shows up as a full participant, I think it's a really good sign that he'll play. If he's limited, then it's definitely worth watching on Friday. If he's another DNP, then Friday is going to be the day that really, really kind of shows that. Christopher Galloway asks, what's the status of Keanu Neal? I would love to know that as well, man. I actually got this question in live queues yesterday, and I really don't mean for it to be sound like a cop out or anything like that, but I'm not on the beat anymore. Obviously, I can't pretend to do beat work from 1,200 miles away. So I really don't know. If I were there, I might be able to figure it out, through talking with people on the South Side and stuff like that. I really don't know. I think that's a mystery to a lot of people right now. I have no idea what's going on with Keanu Neal. He's been on IR. There's been no activation here, so I would assume he's just out. And yeah. Steelers Freak, I hope Roberts is close to 100%. I wouldn't say he's I wouldn't think that he's close, but he's probably closer than he was last week. I would still expect for him to be limited a little bit in terms of his how often he plays, how many snaps he logs in the game. I think that's why that's why a lot matters on what Miles Jack and Michael Walker and those guys do. But I think he will play hopefully a little bit more than he was able to play against Baltimore, but I still think he's going to be less than 100% the rest of the way, no matter how many more games the Steelers play this season. Let's see here. Get to it. We got 5 minutes left. Man, this show has really flown by today, man. Yeah, Mark says Bills have 2 good tight ends. Yes, they do. I think Kincaid's the more dangerous one, but Dawson Knox is a really good one too. They really do have a really good 1-2 punch at tight end. Really, really good. William says KZ is back. Yes, he is. He is back, activated and everything from suspension. Good to see. Philip with an interesting stat here. Steelers are 7-0 when Najee scores this season. Listen, I think if the Steelers are going to have, I think that if the Steelers are going to have a chance to win this game, it's going to be through running the football. And it's not just obviously they'll need to finish drives as well, but it really is about keeping that Bills offense on the sideline and keeping the Steelers defense fresh. Josh Allen can't hurt you if he's holding his helmet on the sideline. So yeah, it's going to be through running the football. That's going to be the way to do it. And this Bills defense has given up 4.6 yards per carry. Yeah, they can do it, man. They can do it. So let's see here. William says you made it fun, Chris. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. It's not always easy flying solo on this, especially because I feel like there's a lot of times where I'm erring and umming my way through it, and I don't like doing that. Joe Vlog says or asks, Chris, what's your take on Tomlin stepping down if we lose? I say I'll believe it whenever I see it. I know there's report. I'm not trying to question Adam Schefter at all here because he's the one who came out with that report. I'm really not, because it's not my job to, and I don't like questioning guys. By the way, if you haven't grabbed one yet, Crystal just gifted 5 memberships. Grab one if you can, man. Appreciate it, Crystal. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I'll believe it whenever I see it. Listen, I know he's got a year on his deal. 1 year left on his deal. I do not think Tomlin's going anywhere. I don't. I know like Colin Cowherd also had his take on it, saying that, a lot of times coaches will, especially after, franchise quarterback leaves and everything like that, that they're, sometimes they just want to take a breather. And Tomlin's earned it. I mean, he's been coaching for a long time now. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to another one. He's won a lot of regular season games. And Bob kind of says it here. Tomlin said not that long ago, I have the best job in professional sports. I don't see him going anywhere. And listen, for a lot of people that like kind of think, and I think they kind of say this stuff in the national media just because they almost want it to come true. Because I do know, and I'm not saying this because I need to talk to any kind of executives or anything like that at networks or stuff like that, that if Mike Tomlin were to stop coaching, he would be the hottest free agent in terms of somebody trying to get him to be an analyst or a pundit or whatever on their show. Absolutely, man. Mike Tomlin is phenomenal behind the podium. He would be phenomenal behind the CBS desk or the Fox desk or anything like that. He would be phenomenal. He'd be entertaining as anybody else. But people don't understand. They really don't understand unless they've really been around Mike Tomlin for any kind of length of time. And I can tell you right now, for the one season that I did cover this team, I can tell you right now that Mike Tomlin is the biggest football junkie I've ever seen in my life. And when I say football junkie, I mean football junkie. That dude cannot get enough football. He loves football. I've never seen anybody love football more than Mike Tomlin, man. I have a hard time thinking he would step down. I really do. So I'll believe it whenever I see it. I mean, never say never. I'm like trying to do the Mike Tomlin thing there, say never, but never. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think so. Yeah, and Darren and Chris will kind of bring this up. Yeah, the agent could be playing a little bit of a game there, trying to get some stuff out there to try to leverage some money. Yeah, that's very realistic, and kudos to you guys for pointing that out, because agents do that too. Agents' job is to get their clients paid, and Mike Tomlin coming up on the last year of his contract after this season. He's going to be looking to get another contract and get paid in doing so. So, yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we're at 30 minutes now. So, I'll probably go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for watching and for helping. Bob's saying, oh my God, Bob says, good job today, dude. You're like a single parent here. Reading while you're talking to us is not an easy task. No, it's not. I am not good at walking and chewing gum at the same time. I can't tell you how many times I'll be reading something and also trying to answer something while my kids are trying to talk to me, or while my wife's trying to talk to me, and I'll end up saying something that I'm reading, or I'll hear my wife say something she didn't actually say because I'm too busy reading. So my brain gets easily discombobulated. So appreciate you guys tuning in, for bringing your questions, bringing your comments. We will definitely be talking more, obviously, about this game. I don't know if the Steelers are going to practice at their stadium again tomorrow. If they do, I'll probably be solo on here again. We'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. Hopefully Corey can be here. It's obviously a little bit better when he's here because we get to converse, not only with each other but with you guys. He brings the latest coming from the South Side. So since we didn't have more news today, definitely make sure you check out the feed on DKPittsburghSports.com. If you don't have the app, download the app. It's free. You don't even have to have a membership to read the stuff on the feed or to read any of the content. My Chalk Talks are on there. Corey's work is on there. Matt Williamson's War Room stuff, DK's columns, all the stuff, man. We got Steelers coverage for you out the wazoo. I don't know what a wazoo is, but it's out of the wazoo. We got all that coverage for you. Mark asks, is it time to walk the dog? No, it's time to go get my kids from school. That's what time it is. Dog's played outside a little bit today, and he'll go for a walk later today. He knows I'm talking about him. He's looking at me right now. Love that dog. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. To quote the great Michael Scott, I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip.